The legendary city of Troy fell to a massive Greek army, burning to ash in the ancient world's most famous siege. But that cataclysmic fire marks just one moment in a 4,000-year timeline. The survivors came back, packed down the rubble, and rebuilt. And when that city fell, they rebuilt it again. For centuries, Homer's Iliad provided the only written record of its fall. But underneath a hill in modern-day Turkey called Hisarlık, the physical city was very real, silently watching the world change. It survives because of a process archaeologists call stratigraphy. When invading armies or earthquakes leveled the city, the residents didn't abandon the site. They simply smoothed over the ashes, laid new stone foundations, and built directly on top of the old ruins, stacking up a vertical graveyard. Layer by layer, over 4 millennia, this accumulation created a 100-foot-tall artificial mountain. It spans from a small Bronze Age village around 3500 BC all the way up to the Byzantine Empire in 500 CE. Identifying the location was the easy part. The real problem was looking at 9 distinct stacked cities and figuring out exactly which layer belonged to the Trojan War. In the 1870s, a wealthy German businessman named Heinrich Schliemann arrived at Hisarlık. He was a self-taught merchant obsessed with proving Homer's epic was historical fact. He didn't delicately brush away the dirt. He hired hundreds of local workers and ordered them to carve a massive 40-foot-wide trench straight down into the center of the hill. In his rush, Schliemann tore right through the upper levels of the mound. He entirely ignored the Hellenistic and Roman ruins, including massive stone theaters and temples built centuries later by travelers paying homage to Achilles. He kept digging until he hit bedrock. Near the very bottom, in a layer we now call Troy II, his workers pulled an astonishing hoard of gold, silver, and copper artifacts out of the dirt. Schliemann immediately named the cache Priam's treasure. He draped an elaborate golden headdress, which he called the Jewels of Helen, over his wife, and declared he had found the Troy of the Iliad. The global press readily accepted the claim. But by prioritizing the search for gold over careful study, Schliemann had essentially dynamited the very history he was trying to save. Decades later, modern scientists returned to Hisarlık with a new tool, radiocarbon dating. Testing the organic remains scattered in the trench walls revealed that Schliemann had dug about 1,000 years too deep. He had ripped right through the ruins of the late Bronze Age to find a completely different, much older civilization. The city of the Trojan War was sitting in the middle layers, completely shattered by his shovels. It took generations of careful work by later archaeologists, like Manfred Korfmann and Rustam Aslan, to step back from Schliemann's trench and properly analyze those middle layers, known as Troy 6 and 7. What they mapped out was staggering. The real Homeric Troy spanned a sprawling lower city 10 times larger than previously believed, guarded by an 18-foot-thick sloped stone wall and a defensive ditch cut directly into the bedrock. Within these sprawling middle layers, researchers found bronze arrowheads, scattered, unburied skeletons, and widespread scorch marks. The physical evidence of a violent, fiery siege matches the ancient poems, proving the real city managed to survive Schliemann's blunder. We fixate on the 10-year Trojan War, the wrath of Achilles, and the wooden horse. But in the 4,000-year lifespan of this hilltop, that famous siege was a fleeting moment. The Greeks didn't erase these people. The survivors walked back into the ashes, packed the dirt down, and built Troy 8, and then Troy 9. They endured shifting trade routes, earthquakes, and the arrival of completely new empires. Modern cities operate on this same architecture of debris. Every subway tunnel dug and every skyscraper poured is a new foundation resting on the rubble of whatever came before it. If your hometown was leveled tomorrow and someone dug a trench through your neighborhood 40 centuries from now, what strange, confusing artifacts would they pull out of your layer? Because, as Hisarlık shows us, the relentless vertical march of human survival is more profound than any campfire myth. I'm BrainLags, and thank you.